I thought I was being taught everything I needed to know about working in the media industry. I thought I had the best roadmap for a career. I was going to college, sitting through the countless classes of all who sold the same lines. You have to have the skills in order to make it. You need to be able to do 10 jobs to get one. Your social media better be clean. So I went to class and I got the skills. I mastered some of them even. I knew how to set up a camera, how to focus and set the white balance, look for the preferred angles, how to function with equipment failure. I learned what was the preferred editing software for the industry and even mastered a couple other ones. I knew how to create a set, how to function in any role art in that set, and how to become valuable in every role I knew. I thought I was on the right path to my career, with every tool that could be given to me and every form of guidance that my college could have offered. But I soon realized that my skills and what I learned in college were not going to be enough. In fact, what I didn't learn until I was faced with the ugly truth was my skills were going to be compared to something that many people will find as trivial as hair, because that's what it was. My big break, interviews, auditions, all came to a screeching halt when I realized that my hair became more important than the skills I possessed. Welcome to The Natural Balance. Here you'll see and hear from 6 amazing, talented, educated, and strong women from across the globe as they share their experiences, their perspective, and most importantly, their voices on a topic that is having them balance their natural appearance and a livelihood for their career.
I say that my hair is really important to me, not just because it grows out of my head and makes me feel more confident just as a person, but mainly because of what it represents and loving every aspect of myself and all the parts of me that I wasn't really taught or encouraged to even love growing up. I think that society has really done a disservice to people with natural hair, at least from my experience where I've grown up. It wasn't really encouraged, and I think that just loving that part has been really important to me, so my hair is quite significant and important to me as well.
My mom was like, oh really, you're gonna go natural? And I was like, yeah, because I feel like this is something that I need to do, because I don't know, I guess I was kind of inspired by the people around me, and just seeing my friends take that step and seeing people, even just people on the street or people that I heard about really kind of gave me that push to actually want to kind of go for it.
And to start off with, I've been natural my whole life. So a lot of people have transitioned, kind of found their way. But even though I've been natural my whole life, that doesn't mean I've always embraced my curly hair, my natural hair. Growing up, I lived in a school, in a community where everyone around me had straight hair. It was not the norm to come out with your natural hair, natural curly hair. My mom really didn't even know how to do my hair because her hair was always relaxed, but that was one thing she didn't want to do to me. She knew how bad relaxing hair was, so she was always against that, never wanted to put any chemicals on my hair. But I did get old enough and I discovered how to straighten your hair. If I straighten it, it's just for a week, and then I usually hate it afterwards. I'm like, where's my hair? I don't even feel like myself if I don't have my natural hair.
Coming to college, I had more of one of those self-care journeys. I used to straighten my hair all the time, and that started off in, I believe, high school. I went to an all-white high school. I was transferred, as you would say, out into a magnet school outside of my city. So, everyone there, their hair was so straight, and to fit in, I used to straighten it all the time. Around my junior year, I decided that I wasn't going to straighten my hair as often, but there was all that damage and I never did the cutting. And coming to Temple, there's a larger Black population, so finding organizations that have people who know how to work with their hair, people who are doing protective styling, about using space intentionally, whether it be about race,
about womanhood. But then even hair, so that's something that you have to accept. It's who I am, it's part of my identity, and it's not going to go anywhere. So I think women and men should continue to, trailblaze when it comes to hair, because we are who we are, and that's why it's important to have events, talk about hair, and just challenge things. I know.
Yeah, so just a little bit about like my transition journey. It kind of started before I realized that it started, but like starting Campus Curls here, that allowed me to not only to learn more about natural hair and how to take care of it and just learn the stories, but it served as a resource for me to connect with the people who are, in the same realm as me, and also to serve as a resource to other people who don't understand or don't know certain things. So like I didn't go into it thinking that I knew everything, because I know I still don't, but having those people around me, some people knew more than me, some people didn't know anything, so like just having that community of people who can help each other and support each other in our journey was important to me. So in short, yeah, my natural hair really had an impact. So I definitely think that natural hair plays a big role in my identity. I don't think that it defines me, but it definitely plays a huge role. I feel that it does because it's a way that I express myself and show like what I'm about and who I am. So my interest lies in holistic health and wellness, and those are just like the root of my values and interests. And I feel like my natural hair and the way I style it, the way I do it, the way I talk about it, it shows that to other people. I feel like someone can tell how interested I am in healthcare or just in natural living by looking at me and my hair. So I think that really, it's like a discussion starter for me. I feel like if someone sees my hair, that's the way for them to know a little bit about me without talking to me.
In Fox, since it is a business school, a lot of people think, oh, what should you do about going into corporate world with natural hair? Because that's always an ongoing issue. It always has been. Whenever we go over business professional attire, they always like to point out, make sure your hair is neat and organized. And you're kind of just like, what does that mean? Does that mean my hair is neat and organized? Because my hair is just my hair. I do my hair, but I don't know if that means it needs to be straight and like completely slicked back. I don't know what that means. So sometimes whenever I have like an interview or something, I used to ask like mentors, should I put my hair in a bun? Should I do this? Should I do that? And eventually I'm just like, when I go to an interview, I want to express my own self, and my hair is something that I use as a way to express myself. So usually I leave it out, and I've honestly had no problem in the corporate world, I think, accepting it. I interned at a few corporate places, and even though I am surrounded by a lot of people that are not African American, usually it's diverse, but if there are people that are not, a lot of them usually go by and say, oh my God, you have cool hair, whatever that's supposed to mean. But they love to come up to me in the bathroom like, I love watching your hair go by, it's just so fun. That's literally the words they use. So I haven't really gotten any backlash. Even if someone was to say that they didn't like my hair, I don't think at this point, because I've embraced it for my whole life, I don't think at this point that I would ever change it, because it's me, it's true to me, and it's the way I express myself. So I don't think there's any reason or any way I would change my hair for someone else.
So many. I think this is also societal, because for me, growing up in Australia, where where I've grown up, natural hair is not a thing that I saw growing up. It's a little bit more common now, but when I was younger, nothing at all. And I think the main challenge and struggle that we go through as naturals is what we're afraid people will think of us. Because I know for me personally, when I was thinking about transitioning to natural, you know, some of my family members and even friends were like, why are you doing that? And I got comments like, you know, you'd look better with straight hair. You look better with straight hair. You know, natural hair is messy, this and that, and all these different comments. And even had a close friend of mine, who I thought was a close friend at the time, she would just always discourage me from doing it every step of the way. I was discouraged in doing so, and that really makes me wonder why that is. I know for family members who, you know, have had their hair relaxed as well, it's kind of a new thing to them. They're fearful of us not being able to have certain opportunities just because of the way our hair is. When I go for a job interview, if it's more a professional workplace, I will either straighten my hair or I'll have it in a blowout, and I'll do like a tight little bun just so that it's a little bit more tame. And I think that's really interesting to think about, the fact that we feel the need to tame, you know, what we were born with and what grows out of our scalp. I think the main thing for me when I was first transitioning is people were worried that you're not going to be able to get a job in what you're going for. You know, you're going to be quite intimidating. And even now when I walk around, I'm quite a tall person and my hair's quite big as well. So, you know, oh, you're so intimidating, your hair's so intimidating, how are you going to get a job? How are you going to go for a professional, you know, professional workplace?
I don't know. I haven't had any personal experience with like inside of the job with my curly hair anyway. I feel like I might have gotten like a dirty look, like maybe once or twice from my manager, like trying to, you know, figure out if I was gonna pick my hair out, and like maybe I did do it right, and like I kind of got a look, a bad look, or even like false spots. Like I feel like my job didn't really like that. But as far as like interviews, I didn't really have any experience with it.
I think I'm in a way breaking out of this, like now that, you know, I'm just being more educated and I know a little bit more. I'm in no way, shape, or form like actually there yet. But just as an example, as far as going to like interviews and work and whatnot, I know like I don't still get like, you know, I don't get my hair straightened and whatnot. But I remember like when I say like, oh yeah, you have an interview next week, I would like put a slick back. Like, you know, like do a slick back bun. Like, yes, my hair was still curly in the bun, but I would brush in the you know, in the front, just to have it laid down. And it's upsetting because it's just like, even though you feel like you're like I don't even know how to word it, like you feel like you have a win by still going in with your natural hair, but if you look at it, you really don't, because what I just did, I slick back my hair, or like I maneuver my natural hair to still make sure that I'm living up to their expectations of what I should look like. And I just, that goes back into the whole legislation being passed as well. It's just like, I shouldn't have to choose between me or work, this job or being comfortable, you know, like it shouldn't be like a choice. I should be able to go in and sell myself and, you know, and just present my work. I feel like now it is getting better because there's more like representation. You see people actually like being on the news and being like in different industries, wearing their natural hair. So I think in terms of like representation, it's getting a lot better, but there still is kind of like a weird area where there's still stigmas attached to having natural hair, and like some companies will maybe like embrace it more, but there are, you know, certain places where you'll go and like people might say like, oh, like what are you doing with your hair, like what's that, and they don't really understand that, you know, like it's really like it's a natural thing. It's nothing that should be like discriminated against or make anyone any different from someone that isn't black or has natural hair.
that it would have been like they were banning black people because of their hair versus, you know, banning them or banning the discriminating against it. So it was a relief, and then it was kind of sad just because, you know, like we're so far away from like the civil rights movement, but yet here we are.
So New York City passed that anti-discrimination law against hair. We actually had a program about imposter syndrome and talking about how hair plays into that, and we tend to assimilate and think that's surviving and in that survival mode. But we honestly need to just be who we are and have that agency, and hair is a big political statement. You think of like Angela Davis with the fist and her afro. We need to go back to those times because it is power, our hair, in every curl, coil, and different type.
I think that it's kind of ridiculous that it's taken so long to really reach a point where this is something that's acknowledged. Yeah, because this is an issue that has been kind of prevalent for black people and people with natural hair for a long time, and to have it just be acknowledged is kind of frustrating. Like, it is a step forward, but it's like this is something that should have been done a while ago.
That they can't discriminate based on natural hair, such as like dreads or afros or just curly hair like this. And the fact that it passed just now, what was that, like last month?
Yeah.
Shows just how much of a problem it was, and that I always heard about it, but this didn't happen to me. I thought, well, maybe they do it a little bit, but like maybe not. But the fact that there had to be a whole law passed shows just how apparent it was in the workforce. People were really not hiring candidates because of the way their hair was, because of the way they were naturally born, which is definitely discriminatory. And
Okay, I just lost the question I was going to ask you because I was so into your answer. So, do you think the next generation of young black and brown boys and girls having this YouTube community, this new culture, would benefit better than we did?
yes, I definitely think they would. My 3-year-old cousin knew how to work YouTube before she could talk. So I think that YouTube plays such a big role. I think growing up, people are going to be, by the time, I guess, like we had kids and our kids have kids, they're going to be so embraced with learning how to just be themselves, be unique, be themselves. Because on YouTube, you find so many normal people. It's not like you're watching reality TV and these people are just like famous and rich. It's normal people who just embrace themselves. And I feel like having this and having YouTube personalities that you can look up to that maybe look like you or somehow imitate you will benefit everyone in the long run.
So last thing is, what would be your advice to someone who is kind of what I call the in between the balancing acts, trying to pick who they are or falling under pressure? What advice would you give them?
I hope other states follow along with that, because if it's a problem in New York State, that means it's definitely a problem in other states as well. So that really just surprised me that it had to be passed, and it says everything you need to know about how discriminatory having natural hair is when getting a job. I know even my mom, she has kinky curly hair as well. She always had a relaxer, like I was talking about. She works, she does finance at a nonprofit in Harlem, and at first I kept telling her, like, you need to wear your hair natural, you need to wear your hair natural, and she kept saying, Carla, like, I can't do that for my job. Like, I'm in an older generation, the people around me are gonna look at me sideways because my hair is natural. I don't think it's gonna work. But she eventually ended up doing a big chop and had her hair natural. And she went to work, and I kept asking her every day, like, what did your coworkers think about it? And she was like, oh, they actually thought it was cute. And then one day she came home and she said one of the head people who was Caucasian, this Caucasian male, came up to her at a meeting and said, me and my wife decided that we like your hair. And that was a month after she cut it. So really, you can't force people to like it. They're going to embrace it on their own time, but that's really not your job to tell people like it, because people are going to be ignorant anyways.
And I feel like I have a mixed reaction myself. I mean, naturally, I'm happy with that. Like, I'm content. I'm happy that was something that that is done. But I'm also, in a way, it's disappointing because why are we still going through, like, why does that have to be said? Like, I feel like white people or people who, non-people of color, they don't have to have those things said. Like, like, it's just like a unwritten rule. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like we have to, like, have everything out to the detail, say what we can and cannot do. But who thinks about, like, why is hair even a conversation? If the way my hair looks today or tomorrow does not affect my work ethic, does not affect what I can produce, what I'm doing for whatever company, your company, my company. If it doesn't affect the way I work, why is it affecting the way anyone else's work? Why is it being a topic of conversation? And it's like, as great as it is having that legislation passed, it's just like, it just shows us, like, how far we think we've come. But it's kind of like a punch in the face, like, okay, you didn't get that far. Because it's just like, why does that have to be said? And just about, like, the whole dreads and whatnot too, like, I feel like a lot of, like, white people are actually getting different styles and stuff too, as controversial as that is. But nothing is said, like, there's no legislation that's, okay, well, yeah, like, if you come in, you have to make sure that your hair is freshly, straightened. Because, like, a lot of them come into the workplace and their hair is frizzy and whatnot too. Like, they come in fresh shampoo in the morning, and just because their hair dries and it dries throughout the day and it dries straight down, why can't I come in with a wash and go? They do wash and goes. It doesn't look the same as mine. And so it's just like, overall, yes, it's I guess an achievement, something good, but in a way it just shows me, like, how much we still have to work on to be accepted. And I don't understand why we have to keep fighting to be accepted. That's just how I feel about it. Your ingredients, people don't read and don't find out what's actually in it. You think you're buying natural shampoo and you're not. You're buying shampoo with chemicals in it, but just because the word natural is slapped on it, you think that it's okay. And I just feel like it's deceiving in a way, because you want to market yourself like you see us, you hear us, you're here to help us, when you're just trying to make money off of us and off of the things that we need, yet you don't want to really provide. You just want the money from it. And so I just feel like basically the whole trend of just natural, it's just a quick buck for them. That's just my opinion.
So I just want to ask you, as a producer, if a producer were to approach a black or brown female news anchor or TV personality and suggested, under this quote-unquote hair policy, that they should relax or straighten their hair or get rid of their natural curls, kinks, coils, dreads, locks, protective styles, with the thinly veiled threat of not appearing on camera or having a segment aired, would you say that happens often? Would it have been something you said?